Hey, this is Jim. It is 8:02 a.m. in San Francisco, California on March the 17th. Please note that all discussions, analysis, and information presented are for general informational and educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial or any other form of professional advice. So we had really nice tracking overnight, and we hit our 6650 retest level. That level is now vibration. But I wanted to show you guys this forecast for this retest at 5450, which we've been tracking for weeks now, has moved from possible to probable. And you can see I've also placed another retest level on the chart that we haven't had, and that's at the $48 level. You guys can see the speed line allows an attack of both 54.50 and $48 during March. And the way this looks right now is that this can happen next week. And again, I'm thinking I'm moving this from possible to probable based on the setup I'm seeing right now. I think someone is in upside down here in crude oil, and the model already had the most bearish sort of March, April since the big crash below zero, and everything's starting to look like it's going to play out. So that's what that looks like. I also have this $37 retest possible into April. If that happens, it would fall somewhere between April 12 and 24. And sort of the 14th through the 18th is kind of a bullseye in this particular time zone. So again, if time meets price and the forecast is sort of a bullseye, which happens every now and then, we'd be attacking $37 into mid-April. Now, if we back up and we look at the big picture, it lends itself to this kind of a violent decline. So here's the setup. You guys can see the high back here posted in 2014 and 2015, or 2013, 14 rather. Now, when we saw this move above this long-term downtrend, and then this violent reentry, we knew based on this huge expanding pattern that was very, very bearish and sets us up for high velocity declines. The fractal happens to be so steep and so monstrous that price has already moved below the zero line. So we know that an attack of the speed line in the big picture is impossible. Well, I shouldn't say impossible because we traded below zero one time before, but this would be so deep below zero. This would be, into the minus 100s. So we'll assume for the time being that that's not going to happen, and focus more on this downtrend line right here. Down, up, lower, low, couple touch points. So valid downtrend line, and we'll focus on this because then what can happen is as price moves down toward those retest levels and what I think will be a crash leg, we also can then move into what we refer to as the bear crawl, which just means tapping and trading down along that downtrend line that saw the breakout right here. The other thing that lends itself to fast market decline is that you guys can see this 4290 vibration level created right here. And if you've seen my other videos and know the sort of rules of my system, that when we have a downtrend that's spanning this length of time, once the price break takes place, we want to see the bull versus bear battleground lasting right around 38% of this time period as sort of a bare bones minimum. So if you guys have the Fibonacci time extension tools, you can your point of origin is going to be here in 2014. You're going to stretch it down, and then right here where price breaks the downtrend line, and you start your bull versus bear battleground to see if price is going to be repelled and the bears are going to remain in control, or if the bulls are going to take over and start an uptrend. Right there's where you'll snap your line. it would extend out, 38% of this entire move down. And you can see this is nowhere near. This is a really short-lived bull versus bear battleground. The other thing we can see very obviously is that we did move up in the A, down in the B, but then this is a C. It took off. So it refused to do the A, B, C, D. It needed to move back down below 42.90 here prior to this move in order to put this 42.90 vibration level in the rearview mirror and not have to worry about it necessarily in the future. So it did two different things, violated two different rules we have. One is it didn't spend enough time during the bull versus bear battleground at the vibration level. And the other thing is it clearly has only seen the A, B, and the C leg, so it needs a D down to 42.90 just to satisfy that rule. The other thing is we can see this 24.75 retest on this time period. So, again, the different time periods have different retest levels. And so we want to take into account all of these different retest levels. Obviously, now we've got a 24.75. And that could actually be hit during this period, April through June. This $8 retest level that's on the board, I still think it makes more sense to see that in 2024, later in the year, third, fourth quarter of 2024. But that bearish window extends all the way to 2027. And this is, again, an opportunity for crude oil to trade negative if that's in the cards. You guys always remember this. I keep this chart up and I talk about it in the other services as well, because anytime you see someone on Twitter or on TV talking about that something's impossible, this is what I always go back to and I always remember. Crude oil minus 45.32 on this beautiful attack of the speed line within this fractal. And again, we had our downtrend line drawn off of the top of this fractal. And you had your little false move and then your, typical human emotion, fast market attack, crash attack of the speed line. So anyway, the fact that we have some pretty crazy looking numbers down here, remember, these are numbers that can just be hit on a bear crawl on this long-term downtrend line. We're not even talking about, where the speed lines lie. And again, the reason I don't have it on here is because it's literally, you'd be minus 100 or greater. So we'll just leave that alone. We'll see what happens here and see if we track. But again, I'm moving this from possible to probable. And all of this can happen next week. So that's the 20th through the 24th. We can see all of these retest levels. 37 could be hit, but this makes more sense to me because all of these levels can be hit on the way to a speed line attack. Now, if we attack that speed line, obviously, if we were to attack that speed line next week, you'd be closer to the 45 level. But let's stick with these retest levels that are in front of us. And then remember, retest levels once hit become vibration. So it makes sense that if this is what happens, that we can go through the bull bear battleground here before moving down toward $37 into sort of April, I would say at the earliest, but also extending out into June. That's it from my side. Good luck, you guys.